Live's Kelly Ripa has called out her own show for having a double standard. The tense moment occurred as Kelly, 53, revealed her Live with Kelly and Mark co-hosts' October mug robbing results, before playing the trivia game Stump Mark with her husband and co-host Mark Consuelos, 52. Kelly announced, "Let's see how well Mark is doing at keeping mugs from our trivia callers." She opened an envelope and read, "Your October average is 619. Mark excitedly clapped his hands and pumped his fists as Kelly asked, "Is that good?" Mark compared the stat to baseball batting average and revealed that a 619 would be Hall of Fame status. Kelly then asked, "Would you like to hear your career average?" Before she could read the results, the suddenly disgruntled TV host looked over at her producer and questioned, "6 months here's a career. Good to know," she continued. She tapped Mark and stated, "I'm still waiting for career status," before adding, "It takes women longer here." During the trivia game, Kelly and a live fan slammed Mark for being a monster after he won the daily Stump Mark segment. Mark had to guess whether a contestant during the game was the coach for her son's t-ball team or her son's swim team. Joan from Scottsdale, Arizona gave him quite a few interesting clues to throw off the scent, but in the end, Mark guessed correctly. When Mark made his guess, Joan, on the phone, replied sadly, "I'm not getting them on." She laughed afterward, but Mark seemed genuinely sad. "You're a monster," Kelly said while glaring at her husband. Joan agreed, "He is a monster." Mark was remorseful, or so it seemed. He answered, "Oh, Joan, I'm sorry you didn't win a mug or a t-shirt. I really do feel bad about that today." While the crowd laughed, he added, "At least your son was proud." Joan still had a chance to win a trip, however, so she wasn't totally out of the running for a great prize. She ended up winning 8 days and 7 nights in Panama instead of the mug or a t-shirt. What the KLO? Recently, Kelly sent a fan who works on the show to replace her in the seat next to Mark for a brief role swap. During a recent episode of Live, Kelly and Mark were spinning the wheel to determine what prize their caller would receive for the daily segment Fall into the Holidays travel trivia. After landing on a trip to a fancy resort for the caller, Kelly announced to someone off-screen that she wanted to do a trade with her. A woman named Crystal waited off-screen on the side of the stage until Kelly spoke to her. She was a fan and a dancer, and this segment was arranged earlier in the show. "Crystal, should we do our trading places?" Kelly asked. A grinning Crystal replied, "I'd love to." "Let's do it. We're gonna trade places," Kelly said as she moved over to Crystal for her to sit in Kelly's seat. Kelly explained that the pair were going to switch places because they've always wanted to, and they had done it once before. Crystal got seated in Kelly's seat and read from Kelly's teleprompter like a natural. She instructed the contestant on how to proceed next in the game. She didn't miss a beat while in Kelly's place. Meanwhile, Kelly danced her heart out in place of Crystal. So tight. Earlier in November, Mark found himself squirming during a wardrobe malfunction on Live. Kelly cheekily promised to unbutton his pants during the moment. On the show, the hosts started off by talking about the day's weather. "Let's see what's happening this weekend," Mark said as he picked up a piece of paper to read the weather. "Oh, it's going to be dry." He continued, "Brisk and cool." "Dry parade, what does that mean? Is there a parade on Saturday?" Mark asked their producer. "Veterans Day," the producer and crowd let him know. "Thank you," Mark said to a crowd member who shouted out the reason as everyone else laughed. Mark addressed the audience and let everyone know why he made the mistake. "See, these jeans are so tight, I can't think," he said as he squirmed in his seat. Off to the side, one of the producers said, "Wow, good for you." "I did notice that," Kelly said, chuckling. They cut you like they're tight," Mark said, nodding to his wife. "If I start fainting." "If you start fainting, I'll know to unbutton the top button," Kelly said. "Resuscitate me," the Lev host joked. "I will," Kelly told him.